Tree Talking Time is brought to you by Conkey's Outdoors. Get all your hound hunting needs at conkeys.com. Welcome to Tree Talking Time, where we talk all things tree dogs, from the smallest feists to the largest hounds, treating squirrels to bears and everything in between. And from time to time, we might even run a little fast game.
So last year around March is when I had been hunting with Wayne a good bit, and I had an interest in Sam. Sam was just a dog that piqued my interest. I loved him. I loved the way he looked, and I hunted with him a couple times. Went out with Wayne as a spectator, and then Leopard Days last year. He asked me if I want. Last year, 22, he asked me did I want to hunt him because he was hunting Rush, and I was like, yeah, sure, you know what I mean, and went out and I drew out with Ralph with Bacon and Kurt with Mo, and we got him. We went out and whooped them.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't crazy, but I think we scored like 350, 375. Good hunt, definitely good hunt throwing out with them guys. And then we got home, and it was just one of them things. I was pushing Moose and Bell in the field trials and water races, and I had a plan with Moose to try to make him actually, I wanted him to be like the first Hall of Fame dog, but them girls and even Curtis had beat us to it with some dogs that got grandfathered. And so we really pushed Moose in the show, and it was like, I told Wayne, I said, dude, I'm going everywhere. I can take Sam wherever you want, you know. And he was like, you're more than welcome to take him and hunt him, you know. And he said, just take him up the house and keep him. And, you know, we brought him up. He had his own spot at the house, his own dog box. And he stayed at my house for about a year, almost like a solid year. He didn't really go back to Wayne's until after he went back periodically. He would take him back and, you know, take him for a season, and just, you know, a weekend thing. And but he stayed at the house for the better part of the year until right after Clementine made him Grand Night champion at Winter Classic this year.
Okay.
And then, you know, he kind of went back home. We kind of he semi-retired him. He didn't really care to push him that much anymore. And but we had an awesome year with that dog, man. Like prior to that, we had been doing some shows. I had a nice leopard that I really wanted to push in the shows, but he started to have an attitude, and it just, you know how that goes. So, but the last year was just like epic, man.
Yeah.
You know, like what Sam did last year, and the I guess the journey that dog took us on was unreal. I mean, we went 14 casts with him last year.
Yeah, that's a lot regardless, but especially for a leopard.
Yeah, and
you know.
And it wasn't just me. It was Clementine won the overall Georgia State hunt. She went Georgia State Youth. She won that. She won her youth cast in the Tennessee State hunt. If I ain't mistaken, it was maybe Alabama. There was one other state where she won a youth cast with them in the state hunt portion. And, you know, and then the big thing with her was she took them down Winter Classic this year, and Friday night she had fifth place overall. You know, 600 plus points on the dog, and that made him Grand Night champion. So he did it with style. But you know, he took me to the World Hunt. Only the second leopard to ever make it to the World Hunt. With a double cast win up here in Indiana.
Nice.
You know, we come up here, and I didn't really draw out. I'd say on Friday night I don't really even remember my cast, so it wasn't really anything special. And then Saturday night I drew out with Brooklyn, and we ended up hunting on Russ Beller's land, and I was like, man, it come down to the wire, me and her, and if she had a coon, she was going, and if she had a coon, even if I did have one in my last tree, she would have beat me. And we got to our last trees, and we found mine. She couldn't find hers, so I ended up winning a double cast right there, and so we made it to the top 100.
That's awesome.
So he came here. We came here last year for Autumn Oaks 22, and hunted him in dual champion, national dual champion. He was national dual champion last year. we drew out with one of Ernie Cobb's dogs, and Andy. I'm not sure Andy's last name. You might know it.
Andy Byron?
I'm not. No, not
No,
Andy
I
Byron.
was gonna
No,
say, I
they're
don't think.
from West Virginia. I don't know if you know them
Andy.
guys. Dave Cox, you know them guys.
Mm-hmm.
So those guys that they're familiar with Rush, and they're Leopard guys too. Well, Ernie is, and so we drew out with him. It would have been 3 dog casts. One didn't show up, so me and Andy drew out. And, Sam went out and just did Sam, man. He's just consistent, Not the fastest, not the greatest, not always the prettiest, but he's consistent, man. Sam showed me coons in every state I took him to. I mean, from Alabama to Michigan, down in the. We didn't see any in Texas. We did go coon hunting in Texas for the Texas youth hunt, and we didn't see any coon in Texas. But Texas was tough hunting, I think, on a somewhat of an East Coast dog. You know, so
a little dry.
Yeah, it was dry. It was a lot of sandy soil. Florida was similar. We went down there for Florida, but now Sam was an awesome dog, man, and I'm just glad Wayne gave us the chance to be a part of everything that dog accomplished before he left us 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, very unfortunate
Yeah,
fluke thing, you know.
I did get a chance to breed him. He put 19 pups on the ground. I kept 3 of them. I got 3 females out of them at the house. And then we've had pretty good success out of a few of our dogs. I mean, as far as showing and Sam was just a part of what we did last year. We had Moose went everywhere. He just caught people's eye on the bench, and Moose was the national grand champion leopard last year here at Autumn Oaks for 22. Made it to the World. We lost to Wyatt last year at the World, and Ollie lost to Wyatt today here for the national grand champion. But Moose went on and I put Moose in 4 water races, and on the 4th one it was Leopard Days 2022, and I was like, man, if that dog don't get in the water, I'm not wasting no more money. And he come out of that box, and he looked like an otter. When he hit the water, man, that dog was so fast. I was like, what happened? And he just turned on and he clicked, and he did really good in the water race. So in 1 year's time and we brought Moose as a pup. Moose is only 2 years and 8 months old.
Yeah, he wasn't very old.
He's still a young dog. And that's my Moose, Mr. Moose. He's a meek spread dog, not to be confused with Jason's dog. Yeah. Jason still has his Moose dog too. But Moose at 1 year old, I brought him here to Autumn Oaks in that would have been 21, and he showed in champion, didn't do anything. Went on in 22, we took him down Grand American, and he got the look. He was the champion male for the breed at Grand American in 21. And I was like, oh, maybe we got something, and that's when I started pushing him. So from Autumn Oaks of 21 to Autumn Oaks of 22, he had became like Grand Champion 3 or Grand Champion 2 or something like that. I think 3. It became field champion, water champion. I had took him and put him through that spot evaluation, which probably a lot of coon hunters aren't familiar with. It's basic commands, and you got the dog's got to have manners. You got to greet people that have a dog and shake hands, and you got to put the dog out there, drop its lead, walk away from it, get like 20 feet away. The dog has to stay there and then come to you when you call, and so you can do spot on, and that's where the dog didn't miss any of the commands. Or if they get like 90% of them, you get spot, and that's why Moose's name is. At the end of his name, it says Spot, S-O-P.
Okay.
S-P-O-T, and it's all capital letters. And it's funny because when he comes to some events, they call him Mr. Moose Spot because they think that's his name.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's actually a UKC title that no one in the coonhound world's familiar with.
Yeah.
But he went on and this year he made Grand Field Champion, Grand Water Race Champion, Grand Champion Hall of Fame. He's also confirmation champion, and he's got the spot title. And he's been a good dog. He's been a really good dog. He's a great pet. He's a good track dog, and I'm gonna be honest, he ain't the best tree dog. He'll make a tree, but if I take my time getting to him, he's not a stay put tree dog yet, and hopefully he'll grow out of that a little bit. Bill Boster swears that 4 and 5 is when they're at their prime, and so I'm holding on to that. He's a smart dog, and I think with enough training and enough time out in the woods, 1-on-1, and tuning him up, I think he'll end up being a good dog.
Yeah.
We had Belle. And Belle had an awesome year last year in the field trials and water races too. And she was a good hunting dog. She had a litter, and I don't know what happened. She's kind of slacked up a little bit. We do got a litter of pups out of her and Sam. So and one of them's looking out of that litter. There's 4 that are looking promising. Real Coon crazy dogs.
Very nice.
And then Ollie, which is Golden Boy, he's the one I showed today for National Grand. He's just a nice dog. He's a rush pup. He's out of Rush. And my Daisy dog, which is Johnny Redbread dog, which almost all these dogs except for Moose and my Bill Murray dog go back to Wayne stock. When me and you met, I had some dogs that I got from Charlie Jackson down there in Virginia. And I had them dogs for, I don't know, I guess it had to be close to 10 years.
They had a lot of Lakers breeding, didn't they?
They were striker bred. They were out a dog named Moon and another dog named Roxy. And they were, on the top, they were heavy striker bred. And that's where I got my fondness for the no-tail dogs. Because CJ, we named one of them CJ after Charlie. And I don't even know if that fella's still alive. I asked Wayne, and he doesn't know. But, yeah, I named one CJ, and he was around for a while. His sister was a black and brindle, and she had got hit by a car. We lost her young. But that kind of was when I got into it. But I fell in love with the breed pretty much. Like, I didn't know about them when they were curs. I'm not one of the guys that's going to tell you. I've been with the breed 25 years. I haven't been. Prior to these dogs, I had Walker dogs, English dogs, Blue Ticks. I mean, one of the best English dogs I ever had. I bought off Seth Ish out here for $75, almost 20 years ago, and she was a good dog. But we got into the breed by coming here, and we met. Well, we had already known him, but we were here with John Wick. Used to do the Garmin booth when it was Tritronics. And I tell people this story all the time. If anybody's listening, I'm sure they heard me tell it. John he'd sign your autographs on your book if you had. So we're in there, and he's signing my books for me and my wife's. He's got Chaps with him, and Chaps is laying on the ground. No leash, no collar, just laying there. And I'm always like, that dog don't even have a leash on. And he's like, no, he's all right. She's like, he ain't worried about him running away. He's like, he ain't going nowhere until I tell him. And I'm like, she's like, really? And he's like, yeah. And, at the time, I just had like some hyper dogs, man. Hyper English dogs, hyper Blue Ticks that were hyper. Everything I had was a maniac in the kennel. And I was like, I want to try a dog like that, you know. And my first dogs weren't nowhere near jug bred dogs. They were, like you said, they were mixed breds, Laker dogs. But that's when we got into it, and then me and you met. Yeah. I guess that was probably, 09 or so?
Maybe not quite 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Probably,
it might have been more. I've been in Tennessee 5 years.
I was going to say 7 or 8.
Yeah, 7 or 8 probably, yeah. So,
back before you.
Yeah, and then
God's country down there.
One of them dogs, and CJ made it down here with us. He did make it with us, and he's gone now. But and then we got down here, and I was looking for another dog because part of moving was I wasn't going to work as much and then do more things that I enjoy, which has always been coon hunting, and I've never been much of a competition hunter. I tried it a couple times locally. And, I had a decent dog and pleasure hunt, but never nothing that, I thought I could push serious. And I met Wayne back then it was off the chat board on UKC, which some people still use.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when I bought my Cricket female off him, and I still have Cricket. And she's Johnny Redbread dog, too. She's a good dog. She's black and tan.
Okay.
And she's basically like the foundation of everything that's in my kennel right now. She's
Mm-hmm.
Daisy's mom. She's Cricket. Daisy's mom. Bell's mom. I got a dog named Big Black. You guys don't see him at all. She's his mom, and then she's Ollie's grandmom. My Molly Cyrus pup. If anybody watches my Facebook, she's Molly Cyrus's grandmom. No, she's actually Molly Cyrus's mom, and she's Kat's grandmom. So
Okay.
Kat's out of Bell, but Miley Cyrus is out of her directly, and she's put out some really good dogs. So yeah, she was like, and she was not a single. She wasn't a singleton, but she was only one of two pups.
Okay.
Yeah, she was out of Wayne's Boondog,
Yeah.
and Bill Tuck had a female named Volunteer Blue Kate.
Okay.
And Kate only ever had two pups, and Cricket was one of them. I got one, and I believe the other one ended up down in, if I ain't mistaken, I want to say Virginia, but I could be wrong about that. But no, we've had pretty good luck, man.
Mm-hmm.
And really, I think a lot of it. That's all it is. I know, guys. There's varying opinions about the genetics game and all that, but at the end of the day, who knows how much that.
Yeah.
Cricket wasn't much of a dog until she was always a good track dog, and I did neglect her a little bit when I first got her because I was still traveling a little more for work back then, and since then I settled in, and I'm staying home as much as I can.
Well,
yeah.
at least it's in regards to work.
You
don't stay home.
Work,
You don't stay home a lot. You're
No,
on the road all the time.
I think I told you the other day I go to work every Monday morning. I'm like, man, this work, man, this is getting in the way of my professional coon hunting career. And they just laugh at me, but but it's cool. I work out of Union Hall, so there's a lot of leeway with that. We're kind of like our own bosses. You show up and work. If you show up and bust your butt when you're there, they kind of don't mind when you take time off, and especially and I'd say it's probably with any job. If you tell them you're taking off, it's the guys that take off without calling and stuff like that cause the problems. But
well, we're over 15 minutes in this, and still yet to introduce yourself. So why don't you introduce yourself for anybody listening that doesn't know who you are, Chuck?
Chuck Slattery. I'm originally from Delaware.
AKA on Facebook, Lucas Slattery,
on
because you stole your son's Facebook.
On Facebook, I stole my boy's Facebook a few years ago. It's Loukas. He's actually named after Cool Hand Luke. In the movie Cool Hand Luke, his name was Lucas Jackson. And Clementine got her name from a Jim Carrey movie. So my kids do have some different names. But, yeah, originally from Delaware. Me and my wife were both born and raised in Delaware. All our kids were born in Delaware. We moved here 5 years ago. Well, Tennessee 5 years ago.
Yeah.
By trade, I've been a welder for years. And I was Boilermaker in Philly, out of Philadelphia Union Hall for, I don't know, I'd say it had to have been about 15 years or so. And I went through the apprenticeship, but it just got to be a toll on the family.
Yeah.
Making a lot of money, but not doing the things you love to do gets old. And so I just decided to change my lifestyle, man. And I felt like I could do it with a little less money and a lot more free time, and it's worked out. It's worked out really good, man. Better relationship with all my kids, better relationship with the wife, and just a lot different.
That's awesome.
I do have a Facebook too, but I don't get on it too much. It's Soak Creek Creations.
Okay.
I kind of started that a couple years ago. I was doing woodwork, and I was like, man, maybe I could start like my own little business. And I like wood as a hobby and turning on a lathe, and I was doing some epoxy tables and stuff, and then I bought this laser, dude.
Yeah.
I bought the laser to engrave my woodwork, and it just turned into like some other stuff, man. And I got into doing these hats, which is really cool because I love hats.
Yep.
And I
Which,
tried.
for everyone listening to this, you missed out probably because you probably weren't here, and I had some hats by Chuck, and they sold out today. So
I had showed up with about 60 hats, and I got 3 hats left. I think I had like 65 hats when I came in. And so that's just something that kind of helps fund this a little bit because I'm taking weeks off of work at a time. The Worlds are coming up, and Rush is going. I'm going to take Rush to the zones in 2 weeks, and then if we make it, then I'll be, there's 2-3 weeks of where I'll be missing 2-3 days again. So I'm like a good part-time worker, and
well, you'll be at the World regardless with showing a dog, won't you?
well, but the show's on Saturday, so I won't have to miss no work for that. But yeah, and the hat thing took off pretty good. But I like building stuff, man. I'm a builder. It's just that's the way my brain works, man. Like I enjoy a challenge. I enjoy building stuff. I do it at home. I do it at work, and that's just one of my things. So the laser kind of keeps me busy. I try to design hats that are a little bit different than what you can just pull off the internet, and even if it's just a couple tweaks here and there. But and really another thing that I've done, like I've done cups for quite a few people, and I'm not doing cups no more because they're hard. They're easy to mess up. But like the Lady Haley up in Wisconsin, I've done their trophies for the Heartland Classic now.
Okay.
I believe 2 years running. She's reached out to me, and I've got to do their trophies. I'm dabbling with the belt buckles now, man, and trying to get these buckles. I won't put nobody out there, but there are going to be a couple given out this year in 2023 that are coming from me, and I'm super excited about that because, like, you're contributing to the sport that you're involved in. It's awesome, man.
Yep.
In my opinion, it is, and so I like doing that, and that's cool, man. So, and there's anybody can ask you, man. I show up with stuff. I don't know how many hats I gave away, like. I know everybody. I know every kid's dad's not going to buy them a hat, know. And some kids, you just look at them and they're like, they're so disappointed, and it's just like, grab one, man, take it. And I do it everywhere. I do it. If I take stuff to get rid of it, I probably give away. I don't know. I don't give away half of it, but I try to give out. I know what it feel like to be a disappointed kid. So, but I mean, in a nutshell, we've had a really good past couple of years, man.
Yes, you have.
I never thought it. I don't know if you know the hillbilly from Philly, right? Bakken.
Yeah.
It's my boy, man. Bakken's one of my best friends in life, dude. And
wearing his overalls everywhere.
Yeah, dude was just born in the wrong location. But the last job we were on, I looked at him and I was like, JP, I was like, I'm going to quit doing this bull making stuff, man. And he's like, yeah. I was like, I'm going to be a successful dog, man. I actually think I told him I was going to be a successful dog breeder. And he looked at me, and I'm not going to say that. Probably everybody put two and two together. And he's like, so-and-so thought the same exact thing. And I'm not going to say the name because I don't want anybody to think that he don't like the guy because he's got great respect for the dude. But he's like, so-and-so thought the same thing. And I was like, yeah, but he had that little issue, and and it was in the leopard world. So, but I was like, yeah, but that was some other stuff. And dude, that was like 2019. I remember having that. That's when he retired, and it was like from that day on, we actually had a really incredible run with these Leopard Hounds, man. Just unbelievable. I don't even know if there's a word to describe what me and Sam did last year. Like I never thought that this dog that I said, hey, Wayne, I'll take that dog wherever I go, man. And like wherever I went, he did what he was supposed to do. It wasn't hard to end up where we ended up, but just him doing what he did. He's a good dog.
No, and if you listen to any competition, that's what they tell you. Consistency. If you know what your dog is going to do, right, wrong, and different,
right.
You know what their flaws are. You know what they're going to do when you unsnap them. You can win with them.
Yeah.
Because there's no questioning what they're going to do. It's not like, that's not something he does normally.
Right.
We're in a different spot, so he's not acting right. If he does the same thing every time.
Yeah. He was an easy one, man. It was easy to learn his flaws, which. In my opinion, man, he didn't have many. He had a couple. He wasn't no fun to walk on a leash, I'll tell you that. He when you put him on a leash, he pulled. And But he was a great dog, man. It's so sad that he's gone. He was an
He was
awesome
only,
dog.
what, 6?
6 years old. I think he turned 6 in March. So he's just.
And Wayne just walked out there and found him, right?
Oh, he went out to feed, and Sam wasn't acting right, so he got him out of the box, loaded him up, called the vet, said he needed to bring him in for a emergency visit, and by the time he got him in there, he had passed. So, yeah, that's a big blow, man, because guys can say what they want to say. I mean, and there's a lot of guys talk about dogs and this and that and this and that, man. And I stand firm on this. Wayne is a modest man.
He is.
Wayne is a very modest man. And, up until 2 weeks ago, I think 2 of the best dogs in the breed lived in Jasper, Tennessee, in his backyard. And
You're not the first person I've heard say that.
They're doing it, man. I mean, there's no other way to. What other way can you prove what you got if you're not out here doing this? And I wouldn't, just out of fun, like anybody that would like to see one of them go, I wouldn't. Hey, if we're in your part of town, man, hit me up. We'll come. We just went and hunted with Rex Sorrell the other night.
Yeah.
He just wanted this. He sent me a message on Facebook and was like, "Hey, if you want to hunt, come by." And he had a great time. I thought, he had a blast out there with Rush, watching that dog. And we took Ollie, and Ollie did a pretty good job.
It's like out of that stinking corn grib.
He got stuck. He come out. At least he was in the hole. He's heading in the right direction, I figure. But yeah, to me, that's awesome, man. I was honored that Rex. There's a guy that's been in the breed for a long time, older fella. He wants to see one of these dogs go, and you were with us. We got a chance to go out and show him what we're pushing around in these hunts, because we know that a lot of them older guys aren't going to come out here for the competition stuff. They just they hear horror stories. Yep. And the horror stories, honestly, man,
they're just that. They're horror stories. Right. They're stories.
And they're look at the dogs that hunted here this weekend. How many casts they have out of here? How many bad stories you hear? What's there been, 100 casts, 150 casts?
They had 500 and some dogs last night.
If you come back with 2 horror stories, is it really a horror story? It's 2 incidents out of 125. 125 casts, and you got 2 incidents. That's nothing, man. That's not a horror story. It's 2 grown men that couldn't get along. So there's guys that you hear guys say, "I don't want nothing to do with that competition world," and it's like, I get that, man, but give it a chance. There's more good casts than bad, and I'll swear to that. There's way more good casts than bad. It's a numbers game.
I've only been on a couple of that, and none of them have been super bad. But we're even there's been a little tiff, little. And usually somebody doesn't like a call, and it's like if you can explain it and articulate it.
Right.
Usually it can be resolved pretty easily.
And we all got the rules are on the back of the card. And I know they're there for interpretation. Everybody reads things different. But, Trevor and Alan are doing their podcast, and they're breaking these things down, man, to the, you all be able to look at it and understand what they're saying, because they're breaking it down to the basics. They're stripping it down to the essentials. Here's what this means.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you're not, if you're listening to this podcast and you're not listening to UKCs and you are involved in competition cooning, shame on you. You really should, because they give you an education.
They're the dudes. They're the ones, man. Those are the guys that are. Those are the guys you need to listen to. That way, when a question comes up in the woods, it's probably something they already touched on.
Yeah.
And at least if 1 out of the 4 has listened to it, they can say, "Look, man, they just talked about this." But but like I said, more times than not, I go out and have a good time.
Exactly.
I've been out on 2 casts this weekend, and we pleasure hunted one night. Dude, I'm going home happy. I drew out. I didn't win. I did win the one, but that was kind of different. It was for the duel. And then last night, I drew out with 3 English dogs. That's another thing. You hear people, "Oh, how you get 3 English dogs?" It's a blind pick.
Yeah.
Anybody that's seen them pick these things, the cards are upside down. They pick 3, they pick 4, put it on the paper. That's it. Then they flip them. They didn't know I was going to draw it with 3 English dogs. But we went out. We had a great time. Everybody helped shine. Everybody helped see. Everybody's seen everybody's coon.
Yeah.
All 4 of us. Every coon that we made, nobody said, "Oh, I don't see it." You know?
Yeah.
And that stuff, you hear about it, and I'm sure once in a blue moon, but, you know,
Yep.
I'm an advocate, man.
Oh, I know.
This is a hobby. Go out and have fun. Enjoy it. And
Conkey's Outdoors is proud to be a sponsor of Tree Talking Time. Family, hunting, tradition is the Conkey's motto. They understand the importance of passing down the tradition of hound hunting. They are a family-owned business that treats you like family. They also understand the importance of having the gear you need when you need it. Conkey's carries everything for your next hunt, and it ships to your door quick. They also offer great warranties on all tracking systems and financing options. Check them out at conkeys.com. You can also use the code TreeTalkingTime5 in all caps to save as well.
You know, while we've met and we've kind of talked through Messenger and on Facebook and stuff, like, I really haven't spent a lot of time around you until this,
Right.
you know, the last couple of days.
yeah.
And I've had a great time hanging out with you, and I love your attitude about it. You're just like, let's go have some fun.
That's all, man. And we all, everyone, I'm included. You know what I mean? Every once in a while, you lose your temper a little bit. Maybe not lose your temper, but just you get agitated. But,
Yeah.
you know, and that's not just men.
Mm-hmm.
There's women in this sport, too. You know what I mean? I'm sure they get agitated. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with anybody getting agitated and not backing down from it. It's like, if you've listened to Trevor and Alan say something and you know you're right,
Yeah.
who's going to back down from that?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody. They're like, no,
Well,
I'm right.
but at
And
the
they
same
said I'm right.
There's a proper way to handle it.
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
handle it proper way.
Yeah.
And guess what? You question it. You come back. You do your, this
Right.
is a Master of Hounds, so you have a Master of
Yeah.
Hounds. But, you handle it the right way.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Doug does all these ones up here in
Mhm.
Indiana. You know, Doug's a fair dude. You come back with a question, he's going to give you the right answer. You know, I mean, you got a question, and you come back, and your questions ain't always going to go your way either.
Exactly.
You know? It's part of it, man. The rules can be interpreted by
Mm-hmm.
I had a buddy who used to say, we stop reading when we find the part that suits our argument.
Yeah.
You know, there can be a paragraph 3 inches long. When you find that one sentence that fits Ben's, like this is the one that supports Ben,
Yeah.
you don't care about the 3 above it or the 3 after it. You just focus on that one sentence,
Mhm.
you know. And that's what context is. And it's just
Exactly.
like, yeah,
I've never heard it put that way, but that's
you
very
stop
true.
looking when you find the one that supports you. And it is, man. Like, yeah. And it's funny, the guy that told me that, his name is actually Billy Coleman. Yeah, Billy Coleman, Union Boilermaker out of Philadelphia. Yep,
That's
he's
funny.
retired. His name's Billy Coleman. How funny is that?
That is too funny.
He's old school, Red Fern Groves,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. But I'm glad you invited me, man. I was getting ready to go to bed. And,
I won't hold you up to
I don't care, dude.
It's a little late.
You've been around me all week, dude. I love talking, man. That's part of it. I'm one of the guys that goes to the local club just to listen to them dudes tell me stories, man.
Yeah.
You know, I love it. There's a part of it, you know, that just it's cool, man. It's an awesome community.
It is.
There's definitely little, tiffs out there in the woods sometimes, but you know what? At the end of the day, when I remember a while back I was on a cast and like I was pretty upset with the dudes, and being honest, I felt like the guys I was with kind of teamed up, to make sure everything went their way, and the boys' dog won honest, not taking anything away from the dog.
Mm-hmm.
The boys' dog won fair and square. The dog.
Yeah.
Some of what these dudes were doing kind of was irking me a little bit, and I was just like, you guys know what you're doing, you know what I mean? But you just call the dog, dude. Like, we don't need the other crap. Like, the dog is probably going to win.
Yeah.
And as mad as I was at them dudes that night, and not really mad, but irritated with them and frustrated, when we got out to the trucks and we were leaving, like, the boy that guided us, he was part of it. And, he was also, he was guiding, judging, and he was all right there in the cast the whole time. At the end of the night when it was over and I got in my truck, I still went back and shook the dude's hand and told him thank you for taking me to a spot. Like, you took me to your spot, and I appreciate that. You showed we treat Coon, I appreciate that. I just didn't appreciate some of the stuff that I didn't think needed to take place in an honest cast. But
Yeah.
and we need to be appreciative to them people, man. Like the guys that are taking us out on these hunts and taking us in their spots that you hear the stories about stuff like that. The guys don't want to do it because horror stories.
Oh, yeah. People, you're taking 3 people you don't know to your spot, and you don't know if they're going to disrespect the your landowner or that property.
I'm out on a cast, dude. If I'm chewing bubble gum, I put my wrapper in my pocket because I don't want you throwing bubble gum wrappers in my front yard.
Exactly.
I'm not going to throw it on your farm. It's just a respect thing, and we need to respect the guys that. The guys that are guiding us, the landowners that are letting us hunt on their land still in 2023.
Yeah, it's getting harder every day. So
it is.
Let's not shoot ourselves in the foot.
Right. It's a big thing, man. But I don't know. It's a cool sport, man. I'm really glad my kids got into it, and they're a couple of them are into it and having a good time. Clementine really likes it. She's Lou's a little. He's in and out of stuff. He's young. He's a kid. He's a boy. So he's hit or miss. She's always been into animals.
Yeah.
So I don't know how, but she was like born a hillbilly, man. She's born in like all my kids were born in Delaware. She was born. We lived in a part that was we were 25 minutes outside of Philly.
Yeah.
And like this little girl's loved horses and cowboy boots since she was born. I'm like, we don't live in the horse and cowboy boot area, but she did. And to this day, I mean, you've seen her today. She's walking around with a big old buckle and her cowgirl boots. And she's had a horse, and she's like Bakken, man. She's like a hillbilly from Philly. It's just in their blood, I guess. But yeah, she's a good kid.
That's awesome. Now, and she's done her fair share winning in the youth stuff, and
she's won in the regular hunts.
Oh,
man.
I know.
You know what I mean? Dude, what she did at Winter Classic was unreal. When she told me that, I was like, me and Wayne were blown back. We were like, wait a minute. He said, what? You like 5th place overall on Friday night. Like, she didn't beat not only me and Wayne, but she beat everybody else, 99% of the people that showed up to hunt, and she went out and did her thing, and she just picked it up. I mean, I've seen her. There was a time where I told her, like, you can't bite your tongue. If somebody strikes your dog, speak up. Because that was a big thing for her at first. Because she does this, but she's still a little bit shy.
Oh, yeah.
But she gets out there and she does her thing. But I think at first she didn't realize, like. But then I've seen her on cast where, like, the whole cast is talking and she'll just turn around like, can y'all be quiet? Shh. Or turn around and shush everybody. Like, I'm trying to listen to my dog. Like, I don't know what you're doing, but I want to hear my dog. And but she's done well, man. She's been in a couple adult casts. I think she hunted both days. She did win it both days, or she hunted both days. Winter Classic this year. I don't think she hunted Grand American by herself. She did hunt Winter Classic both nights by herself. I think we went to a state event where she hunted Sam, and I think we went to like a couple breed events. I think she's been in like 4 or 5 adult casts by herself, and she's done well.
That's great.
And then in the youth casts are usually pretty cool. We went to Virginia, man, and like I think the guy assumed because she was a girl. Like, we got out of the car and it's a 3-boy cast and her and the guy's like, young lady, are you from? No, he got out and he's like, is everybody familiar with their dogs? And they're all like, yeah. And he's like, young lady, are you familiar with your dog? And she's like, yeah. And she's not like one to be like, heck yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I am. That's my personality. But her personality's like, yeah. And he's like, well, and he's like, looks at me and he's like, well, we can't have any grown-ups helping the kids. And I was like, bro, are you asking me, does my daughter not know how to call her dog? I was like, because you're kind of looking at me and not these boys. And he's like, well, I just can't have any parents. I said, listen, I said, me and you's gonna hold hands all night. I was like, and you're gonna watch that girl hunt that dog. And he's like, well, no, I was like, I said, I will make her stand 20 feet away from me, and I will stand right in your back pocket all night. I was like, she doesn't need my help. She knows her dog. Mm-hmm. And to me, it was just kind of like, is this what the girls go up against? Like, is this what all the girls and women go up against? Yeah. Like, because their husband or their boyfriend or their father shows up? And we've hunted with plenty of girls that are good at calling their dog, you know. Mm-hmm. In this past year, we've been at all these youth events, and I'm a dad, man. I stand back with the other dads, and we stand around, watch the kids do what they do, man.
Well, Youth Nationals this year, the final cast was 2 girls, 2 boys.
Yeah, these girls are just as good as they're calling a dog. They know their dog. Like me and you just said, if you know what your dog's doing, just call the dog. And there's plenty of girls that are great at it. You know, Brooklyn's awesome. I drew out with her last year. I mean, she's a great handler. You know, I mean, she's a female. Yep. You know, my daughter's, in my opinion, got the makings of being a great handler. Yeah. I just was like, I couldn't believe this dude asked me this question. I'm like, she'll be all right, buddy. You'll see. Yep. You know, she knows what's going on. So.
Definitely.
But I mean, and I appreciate you asking me to come over and do the podcast, man.
I appreciate you doing it. We're sitting here in the middle of the night, waiting on some casts to get back. So.
Yeah. What they come in with a question.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, I seen them coming in, and I was like, "Oh, there's something going on." Yeah, because it's only 11:30. They probably still. I bet they're not even an hour in their hunt, especially if they left. I know they didn't come back from a satellite club. No, not back to here.
So, well, I appreciate it, Chuck.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm glad we got to sit. I'm glad we got to hang out this weekend. Man.
Oh, I know.
Pleasure hunting.
Yep. Yeah, and hopefully in a couple weeks I'll see you at the World.
I'll be there.
I don't know if I'll be, but I'm trying.
Moose and Ollie's going. I'm going to show Moose, and she's going to show Ollie.
I know Kurt's going, but
so I encourage Kurt to go, man. I want to see everybody go.
I'm trying to weasel my way out of some more work so I can ride along.
I wish Kurt would have came here this weekend.
I was trying to convince him.
Yeah, Mo deserves it, man. He's a good-looking dog, and he deserves to be shown. And you know, when you start catching the eye, you know what I mean. He's up there buried in Morgantown, man. You got to get out of Morgantown.
Well, see, that's our problem is we're not centrally located to anything. So like to this, I'm 9 hours. There's people like, oh, I live in Mississippi, and it's 9 hours. Like, geez, I guess I didn't realize how far I'm. You know, I'm thinking Mississippi, that's real far, and it's like, well, I guess it's not.
See, we ended up somehow in a great spot. Like
you did.
Dude, my move was if I tell you how I moved, you'll be like, "That's insane, man." But I looked at the map and I looked at this triangle, and so as my triangle goes from one point is Nashville, the other point is Knoxville, and the other point is Chattanooga. Mm-hmm. And when I started looking for a house, I was like, if I find a house inside that triangle, I'll be able to get a job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I did. I found the house, and I bought it. I never even looked at it. I paid an inspector to go look at it, and I bought it cash. And I quit my job, and I moved 5 months later to Tennessee. Yeah. And never looked back, man. Just completely changed. But where we landed in that triangle, at rush hour traffic during the day, Autumn Oaks is 6 hours and 23 minutes from my house. Mm-hmm. Grand American at rush hour is like 6 hours and 15 minutes from my house. Winter Classic in like rush hour traffic is like 6 hours and 30 minutes from my house. So I'm really in a good spot.
Yeah.
Like if we head over to the Virginias and West Virginia and stuff like that, those trips, if you got to get in the state a little bit. We went to West Virginia State Hunt 2 weeks ago. It was 5.5 hours.
Okay.
So still not bad. That Paint Creek Club in Ohio, Ryan McMurray and them, they have a lot of events. We go up there a good bit. That one is 8 hours for us, but that's an awesome club. They're good people there. And I like running into Ed Bates, man. Ed Bates is a good dude. I always get a kick out of seeing him. English man. And then, but we took a couple big trips last year. Texas was the long one. I think it was like 13 hours.
Yeah.
Crawfordville, Florida. We went down there for the Florida State Youth, which she won. She cleaned up down there in Fields Ryle, Water Race, overall bench show with Moose. And I think that one was like an 8-hour drive too. So there's a couple that are kind of far. PA's a good haul for us. If we go to PA, it's a 9-hour ride, 10-hour ride. But we ended up in a good spot, man. We're good and centrally located in coon hunting country.
That is for sure.
So it was a good deal for us.
Hopefully, one of your Rush pup or one of your Sambo pups.
They got big shoes to fill.
Fill some shoes.
They got big shoes to fill. I'm telling everybody now, you ain't gonna see another dog like Sambo for a while. First of all, you're gonna have to find somebody to push that dog.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't seem like, in my opinion, the interest with the Leopards is more toward the bench than with the hunt.
As far as competition.
In the competition world, right. There's tons of pleasure hunters. And I mean, you got plenty of guys that want good hunting dogs, like, all them boys over in Virginia and West Virginia and all that, Jason Abbott, Richard and all them, Jason Keene. Them boys want game dogs. They want hunting dogs. There's even people you don't hear about. Like you don't hear a whole lot about Haley and Ephraim Griezmann, and their dogs are nice dogs, but they want dogs that run and tree. They want game dogs, not just show dogs. As nice a dog as Wyatt is, Haley's got the dog in the woods a lot. He does whatever she asks of him, and and even these guys up here, John Cox and them guys, those dudes like to see, Andy, they all like to see dogs that work in the woods. It's not just, but it just seems like the competition world there's not a lot of interest from the leopard guys.
Yeah.
Guys or gals, that have the interest in the competition world. From what I see, that's just my perspective. That's my one man's opinion.
And
we
at
all
the same
have
point,
our own.
Numbers would support your opinion.
Yeah. I mean, look at the show this weekend.
There was a lot of leopards in the show.
There was a lot of leopards in every category.
And you hunted by yourself last night in duels.
We did have one female showed up, but she went in heat.
Yeah.
And she is going back with me to get bred. So, and that's a dog out of PA. But we did have one show up. Now we do have a leopard hunting tonight in Register. Dave Peoples is here with Zelda.
Okay.
Which Zelda's a dog out of Wayne's yard also. Well, Dave owns her now.
Yeah.
But she started over at Wayne's also, and she's a coon dog. So I expect him to come back with at least some plus points. He might not.
Yeah.
We may not see a cast win, but I can see Dave. Hopefully, I'd like to see him walk out of here with a high-scoring female trophy tomorrow. Because in the past 2 years, we haven't given that trophy out.
Yeah.
Last year at Autumn Oaks, I gave Ralph his trophies. Bacon had a high-scoring dog. And the year before, I forget what happened that year. But, our trophy gets left at a lot of places, man.
Yeah.
That high-scoring leopard gets left at a lot of places. I hate seeing that.
Yeah.
I wish a lot more people hated seeing it. And maybe we'd have more people come out and get at it, man. So... But I get the other side. I do. I completely understand. There's two sides to everything. So.
Well, everyone listen up. Chuck's telling you to get out here.
Come out, man. We want to see everybody out. I love the breed, man. I love seeing everybody. Right? I don't think there's a person out here that can tell you that, like, I don't support them. I don't care who you are. You're out here with this breed of dogs, like. I don't care about the animosity. I don't care about what happened 20 years ago. I don't care what happened 5 years ago. What happens today is where we move forward from. So hopefully everybody.
Absolutely.
It's looking better. It really
is.
is. The numbers are coming up. So that's good.
Definitely.
That's real good. But thanks for having me on here, man.
Yep.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it, brother. Yep.
Hold on. Before you turn this podcast off, just want to make a quick announcement that Chuck and Rush did go to the zones at Clarksville, Georgia this past weekend. They were able to pull off a cast win on Saturday night, winning their cast of 375 plus, which was enough to get them into the top 108, and they will be headed to Mount Gilead, Ohio this coming weekend. So I'm looking forward to going out to the World Hunt, seeing Chuck and Wayne and Rush out there. Look forward to seeing all you guys that are out there at the World Show and Hunt. Also, last thing, I've had a few people message me about the shirts that I had at Autumn Oaks. If you were not able to make it out there, they are still available at dusupply.com.
So go check them out there. Thank you.
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Tree Talkin' Media. And until next time, keep 'em talking in the timber.